I'm not gonna lie, Miles. On
Don't lie. Lie's a terrible thing to do.
I'm not gonna tell the truth, Miles. On Wednesday's show, Mr. West Dillon made me second guess my drinking coffee through straws for the duration of Gamescast. He said, "No one looks cool drinking through straws," and I said, "Uh-oh, I better do something about that." And I didn't, and so I was just trying to drink some coffee before the show, and I'm very nervous now about the straw that's attached. I don't think real men use straws, Miles.
No, it's hardcore, man. If you drink through a straw, it gets to the bloodstream quicker. So, yeah.
Is that real?
Game on.
Yeah.
I mean, it is with alcohol. I don't know if it's the same with caffeine. I assume it is.
Yeah,
because it's
what? If you drink alcohol through a straw, it hits the bloodstream faster?
Because it's like it ties with the oxygen that you're drinking up. Yeah. I mean, that could be complete BS, but I did hear that a while ago, and it might have been the straw industrial complex with their propaganda. So who knows?
That's insanity. Because I was a massive alcoholic. I guess I would still be considered one. And I thought the fastest way to get drunk was to open the bottle of vodka and drink it out of the bottle. But little did I know that if I use a straw,
I mean, or straight into the eye, as Scott in the chat says. Yeah, I mean that is also. I don't know. Fact check me. I could be completely mistaken, but I heard that a while ago, and like a usual human being, I thought, yeah, that sounds about right, and then I just compiled it as under the tree section in my brain, because that's how we work as humans. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, probably true. And then I just say it like it's fact. So there we go.
All right, you guys, let's leave your masculinity at the door and enter the PSVR Gamescast live zone. You ready, Miles? It's so spooky. Let's go. This is PSVR Gamescast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Wise Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live for your viewing pleasure. 6 p.m. Eastern. Live. Visually, even. But we do care about your oral pleasure. That's why our good friend RyPop puts this thing up on podcast services of your choice. What's your choice? I don't know. I don't even know what the choices are, Miles. I don't watch things with my ears. It's very crazy. But I do lick things with my nose, which is just fucking OnlyFans. OnlyFans.com/Brian Paul. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here without Parole and OnlyFans. And this guy over here to my left, you're right, it's Miles Dyer from YouTube.com/Miles.
What up, Brian? What up, Game Cats? Happy Friday. Do you have to say, hearing Brian saying every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it just feels so good to hear that again, because it didn't matter. Like the second week of us doing just the Wednesday show, and you were just like, we do every Wednesday. It felt odd, and I thought, okay, give it a few weeks, and then it'll start feeling right again. And it was months, and it still felt weird. And how's the straw drinking going? By the way, the chat was saying some hilarious stuff. Hilarious stuff I couldn't possibly repeat. But I love it. I love it.
You know what I love even more than that, Miles, is starting the show off with a trailer of Dash Dash World, just to give people some false hope that we have news on this game when we don't even in the slightest. I've not heard from these guys in quite a while. Although...
Oh, we don't? Okay.
No, supposedly it's still coming to PSVR2. But, you know, isn't everything eventually?
It is. It's all eventually coming to PSVR2.
Yep.
It just takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
Takes time. What's going on, you guys? This is, dude. I'm so glad it's Friday. I know that most of you guys know this. It doesn't make a difference what day of the week it is for me, because I usually just work around the clock. I was gonna say 8 days a week. Seriously, no, but 7 days a week. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. When the worker left my apartment today, and I realized, I was like, I have the rest of today and then the next 2 days without people being in my apartment and showing up at 6 o'clock in the morning, there was like this weird wave of relief that kind of washed over me. And suddenly, like, getting PSVR this week done today wasn't super important. And then getting this week's retrospective that should have been out yesterday
this week
done, like, less not important. Like, I'm legit going to go to bed after this and just sleep until I wake up. Like, I desperately need to do that. So
that is one of the best feelings in the world, Brian, is going to bed without setting an alarm. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but it is just amazing. Amazing.
Worse, it's been a while, Miles.
Been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Nick Mulo in the cat. Nick Mulo in the cat. Yep, definitely what I was trying to say. Oh, dude, Brian gets plenty of sleep. Nick Mulo in the chat, also a cat in the chat, says, on the other hand, Galaxy Kart is submitting their cross-play patch, which is, listen, you guys, I got to say this. We're going to talk about Max Mustard and the awesome sales that they've gotten on PSVR2 since launching here. But there's another kind of sub story to that, and it's like sad because somebody, I don't know if it was Pedro or whoever's running the Galaxy Kart account over there, responded to the Max Mustard news by being like, "Oh man, I wish that would have been the case for Galaxy Kart." He's like, "We haven't sold shit." Like, and that's especially painful to hear, Miles, because of how much, like, you and I know how fun Galaxy Kart is, and I think, Sirens on my end, I think most of the cats here know how much work VR Monkey put into this game. It launched, I gave it a 3.5. It was a mess, but like, it was fun, right from the get-go, man. You could tell it was fun. Like, there was something there, even though it was like buggy and broken and there was no content, like missing, like only a couple maps, and everything felt kind of wrong, but you knew it was going to be a good game. And they listened to our community, and they changed the frame rate from 60 reprojected to 120 to 90. They added more carts, they added more characters, they added more, like way more tracks. Like, I think they like quadrupled the number of tracks or something. I mean,
initially it was one playlist, wasn't it? And then they had, we've actually got to have playlists for each of the areas.
Exactly. It's exactly what they did. And so, like, it just makes me really sad that, like, here we are, like, you know, we're championing this game. We love it. It's like really the only kart racer we have that's worth a damn on PSVR 2. I don't count Gran Turismo because that's not, I think without power ups, that's not real kart racing. That's like real kart racing, not real kart racing. So I don't know, man. Like, I just want to remind people out there that we have this awesome game, and you know, it could always be improved. But I think it's a blast, and I think if you've got a racing rig, even if you don't have a racing rig, but especially if you have a racing rig, like, you've got to get in there and play this game. That's it. This sounds like I'm just trying to push a game for VR Monkey, and I guess I am, but not because they want me to or not because they asked me to, but because, like, they're an amazing studio, and I think this game deserves a lot more love.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's been a long journey because, yeah, like you, when I first played it, I didn't really dig it, but there was clearly something there. And then I was hearing from you that, they're working on all these items and they're going to stick with it. And I was like, really? And there was that real sense of, like, yeah, they might do one or two adjustments, but they just kept on improving it, and they were listening to the feedback. And I can imagine there's a lot of things, like, if it's, you know, we want it more than 60, there's that thing of, yeah, I guess we could do that, but we're not. We're going to add a few tracks and that's it. No, they literally kept optimizing it and listening to community feedback. And so, yeah, I would share that sentiment that, you know, there's a lot of great games out there by indie developers, and it's always important to support when we can. But if you are into a kart racer, you know, if you know that you can deal with it, because I know motion sickness is a thing. I don't know. There's no demo for this yet, is there? Because there was always talks of it.
I have no idea.
Yeah. But I just feel like, I mean, how much is it? How much is it on the store at the moment? Do we know?
Galaxy Kart, $20.
Yeah. Oh, is it 20? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I would just say this Christmas, treat yourself.
Yeah.
I do hope actually around Christmas time we could actually organise maybe some community days with the Without Parole community, because, you know, we do like the Sunday meetup, but it would actually be great if we had, like, I don't know, maybe for a Saturday and a Sunday we had, like, every hour's a different game or something.
Yeah, you organize that, and then I'll jump.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah,
but
listen,
I think Christmas time anyway will be a good opportunity for people to sort of chill and dive into games that they probably haven't given a go before. And look, Galaxy Kart, let's just keep it real. I don't know. I can only speak for myself, but this is not a game I'd play by myself. It's really fun with others. So
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, you know, I think everything works insanely well in single player, right? If you jump in and like kind of like learn all the carts and
that's true.
all the special attacks and all of the and learn all the tracks, because you know where all the shortcuts are. You know, you get this amazing first experience, and then you know like there's gonna be there's a little bit of jank in multiplayer still. Occasionally you'll end up off the road and be like, I'm stuck here, right? But dude, games are supposed to be fun. And I find myself laughing hysterically and just, you know, talking shit in the dumbest ways when I play this. I always have a lot of fun, and all the people I play with are always a good time too. But listen, just because Max Mustard, just because Galaxy Kart didn't sell well, doesn't mean other games haven't sold well. In fact, the news this week from Toast Interactive is that Max Mustard sold exceedingly well, and I think we should head on over to Reddit and read what they wrote. Reddit. Bud. All right, let's see here. I'm going to bring this up, and I wonder if it's going to be big enough so I can read it. Oh my God, dude. Why is everything so blurry? An update on Max Mustard. Hey, PSVR2 community, it's the Toast Interactive team here. Firstly, we just want to thank you for all the support you've shown Max Mustard. We hope many of you enjoyed playing on PSVR2. Now that it's been a couple weeks since the game's launch, we're sure many of you have finished the game and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Since launch, the support from players on PlayStation has honestly been overwhelming. We put in extra effort to upgrade the game from MetaQuest version to get the most out of the PSVR2's features, but we never expected the reception would be so incredible. Max Mustard is currently sitting at 4.93 out of 5 with over 200 reviews, and we're pretty sure that speaks for itself. But we'd like to chat a bit more about the game with the community that's really helped champion Max Mustard in VR platforming in general. We originally released Max Mustard on MetaQuest in March this year, a platform with over 20 million headsets. Not gonna lie, I don't think that's an accurate number, Miles. 20 million headsets.
20 million's a lot.
Yeah, they may have shipped 20 million.
Let's go for it. Let's go with that number, though.
We're going to go with that number?
Let's make an argument.
Okay, well, that's fun. The game was incredibly well received, and players loved it. So we knew the next logical step would be to bring it to other platforms. Over the last 7 months, we focused on the PlayStation version, which launched on October 3rd. Now, we all know that PSVR2 hasn't quite received the attention, especially from this channel, Miles, or hardware sale it truly deserves, with approximately 2 million units shipped, 10% that of Quest. Despite being a fraction of the market, Max Mustard has sold better on PSVR2 during the first 2 weeks of launch than it did on MetaQuest. We thought this was an interesting statistic that breaks the norm of what the industry is seeing. If you've been spreading the good word of Max Mustard on PSVR2 or Quest, we see you. Thank you. Miles, it's also interesting. Like I said, I'm not 100% confident in the fact that they've got the right numbers for the Quest sales. But which means I'm also not 100% confident they have the numbers right for the PSVR2 sales, right? But it is interesting for them to just kind of throw that out there as if it's like some kind of factual statement. How accurate do you think those numbers are?
Of the number of headsets?
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's kind of like they've clearly rounded it up to make the point, like maybe it's a 10, 1 to 10 difference. I don't know, man. The thing about PSVR2 specifically is, when was the last time we actually got a figure from them? It was like weeks or months after launch, right? Where they said it was like 400,000 or something, wasn't it?
Something along those lines. It was either 400,000 or 600,000, and it was only like a month or two after launch. It was a very short amount of time.
And so the longer you go, the more impossible it is to have any sense, because we have no sense of trajectory or anything. All we know is Sony are not talking about it.
We know that they're not talking about it, but what we do know is that we've had like across most territories, that amazing $200 sale that we had, where it seemed like everybody who was interested in PSVR2 was picking up a headset. I saw the difference over here with subscribers and view counts, and people were suddenly interested in PSVR2, like to a new degree. I was seeing lots of new, I know that's very anecdotal, but like it's I think without Parole numbers are the best anecdotal evidence you can get, right? Like without getting straight facts from Sony themselves. So So I'll take it. It does seem like there was a new surge of interest as soon as the price dropped. So 2 million, not outside the realm of possibility, but my guess would be that we're getting close to 2 million, that we're not actually there.
Yeah, I've always felt we're between 1.5 and 2. Like we're in that benchmark. So yeah. In terms of Quest headsets, I mean, you've got so many different Quest headsets, haven't you? So I don't actually know what Max Mustard is playable on. What, Quest 2, Quest 3?
Yeah, and they just launched on Steam this week, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, regardless of the numbers, we do know that obviously there's more meta headsets out there than PSVR2 ones. It's just the fact. It's the bottleneck that to have a PSVR2, you need to own a PS5. Yep. And like Quest is a much better value proposition if you're diving into VR for the first time. Whereas on the flip side, I've always said that PSVR2 players are like proper gamers. It's not to say there aren't proper gamers on MetaQuest, but like there's a lot of casual people that jump in to MetaQuest. Whereas if you have a PSVR2 headset, you are a gamer because you got a PS5 already. Like you're a console gamer.
Yeah, listen.
So
I just kind of want to double down on you clarifying your statement. I think we've talked about this before. There's a lot of people a lot of kids out there who are like, oh, I want a VR headset. Like, Johnny on Christmas gets a $300 or $200 Quest 2.
Yeah.
Right. And so that has inflated those numbers a lot. Kids that play only free to play stuff, that don't have the money to actually buy games, or played VR for a week and then threw their headset under the bed and haven't bought anything since. It does seem like overall, because we're hearing this from other developers too. It's not just these guys that their games are selling better on PSVR 2. Assassin's Creed Nexus made no waves on Quest, and I think it's because it was like a $40 game, and I just don't think it's possible, or it's very difficult. I'll say that. I think Resident Evil probably sold well, but I think it's very difficult to sell a $40 game to the Quest market, and I don't think that's nearly as difficult over here. Right, I think Legendary Tales did really well on the PlayStation sales charts, and that was a $55 game.
Yeah, no, that's it. And so, like, not that you were thinking this, but I just want to be absolutely clear. This is not me being disparaging about MetaQuest. Right. I have a MetaQuest 3. I love it. I've got to be careful what I say here, but I'm getting a family member a MetaQuest for Christmas. Hopefully they don't watch this episode. But like, I'm doing it because like, I just know that that's going to be easy for them to put their head into and get, and also, to be honest, I could probably give them a PS5 now in my PSVR 2 because I've got a PS5 Pro. But like, just in terms of simplicity, they just want something they can put on their head and dive into the experiences. And I think stuff like big screen and stuff like that is appealing as well. I've spoken about it before. I think these are really good things for non-gamers that want to might dabble in gaming experiences, but there's other stuff you can do on VR as well. So yeah, with all that said, someone in the chat was just saying, really curious to see how Ghost of Tabor does on PSVR 2. And I totally agree. That's going to be another great example because Ghost of Tabor has done very well on MetaQuest, but
very well.
And we don't have a release date yet for Ghost of Tabor, but we know it's been worked on, and that for them it's like it's going to be ready when it's ready. And I think it goes to the heart of what we see again and again. Yeah, delay until it's good to go, especially with a game that's meant to be all about immersion, like Ghost of Tabor, a hardcore game. If you start going into that and you got like lobby simulator issues, we've seen it with other games. Right. People just switch off, and even if it's a good game later on, you've already got that in the back of your head, and you're like, yeah, I can't be bothered to jump back in. Whereas if you jump into a game and the first time you're like, this is polished, this is awesome, word of mouth gets round, and you get that real momentum in the VR space. So I just want to say finally on Max Mustard, and this is not taking away from anything because their marketing efforts have been exceptional. They have definitely ridden off the Astrobot thing. The Astrobot piece, they played really, really well. There was a lot of heartache about it, and they were responding to everyone on Twitter that was talking about it, saying, they're there, we're coming along, and that's definitely helped them as well. And so, like, going back to Galaxy Kart, if this was like a Nintendo headset and it was like Mario Kart was supposedly coming over and then it didn't, and there's all that heartache, and then Galaxy Kart's like, don't worry, we've got this kart game, it'd be that kind of thing, and then Galaxy Kart would have definitely done a lot more. And I know I'm making a lot of points. I'm jumping between here, but the final point I make on that train of thought is it goes to the heart of why we always talk about hybrid games. It sells people on stuff, which is, do you like this game? Now, would you like to be in it? And so like Galaxy Kart, like if there was, you know, a game that was going to come to VR that was like a big property like Crash Team Racing or something, or Sonic Racers, and then it didn't, that's something you could capitalize on, which does mean if that ever becomes a problem in future, Galaxy Kart could do a new marketing push to position them. I think Galaxy Kart is a game that could do well in the long run. Like it just needs that break. Whereas Max Mustard, they just timed it perfectly, and they've reaped the rewards. Also adding the fact that it's a really good game. From what I've heard, I'm still yet to play it.
Wait, Max Mustard? Wait, I thought you were going to stream it like last weekend or something. What happened?
Yeah, I was, but I was really sick.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah.
One of these days, then. One of these days. It's, yeah, it's great. It's great. And
I'm super hyped. I've got the thumbnail ready. I've got everything done. Like, I can't wait to get
I've seen
going
the
with
thumbnail.
it.
Thumbnail's great.
Yeah.
I do see the chat happening, and I do see everyone talking about Batman in the chat, and I do think, man, if Batman doesn't sell, that would be crazy. Like there's so much hype surrounding Batman, I think I'm guessing that Iron Man probably sold well when it got over there too. There seemed to be a lot of love for Iron Man, but I don't know. I don't keep track of Quest figures, and so that is something I would love to learn more about, especially comparing. But you know what? Like I think it's so easy to make these generalizations and paint with a broad brush and broad strokes with a big brush. I don't even know the expression because I'm so tired. But it's not like we don't see the monthly sales figures for PSVR2 games. We do. We see things like Max Mustard show up, or we see things like Legendary Tales show up, but they show up for a month. And then it all gets replaced with the same old stuff again, like Beat Saber and Job Simulator and that kind of stuff. And so it's not like we have like these radically different player bases, right? They're somewhat different, but there's a lot of crossover. And so so I think nothing's ever going to take the place of a game just being the right game at the right time, which Max Mustard totally was. It was exactly what you were saying about Astrobot, and it was there when we needed it. But also like there's no if people don't know about the game, then they're not going to buy it, right? It's actually really sad. I saw some people pointing out the fact that Sony did no marketing for Max Mustard. I don't think I saw a trailer on the PlayStation YouTube channel. It definitely didn't have any articles on the PlayStation blog. Like that's really sad. That's really sad. Here's a game these guys are doing Sony's job for them, right? Delivering on the platformer that we wanted, that we needed, and Sony's just like, yeah, whatever. So it's a little,
part of me, and I'm not a conspiratorial person in this sort of sense, but it does make me wonder if it was because of the closeness to an Astrobot style game.
Maybe.
It could have been that.
All right, Miles, let's knock out a couple tips here. We got Waleed is now a game cat, specifically White Tiger with the Canadian $2 tip, says, this Max Mustard news really burned PSVR2 haters. Yeah, I did see some people like really doing some mental gymnastics in order to explain away why it sold so well on PSVR2. Basically saying like, there's no games over there, so it's the only thing they had to buy. And I was like, that's fucking a really lame argument. Like, if you still think we have no games, like if you thought we had no games at launch, there was something wrong with you, because we did. We had like 40 games that launched with it, and then it just got better and better and better over time. And now it's just like ridiculous. Everyone's got a backlog. Everyone has a backlog of good games that they haven't gotten around to playing yet. So that's just like really kind of a pathetic excuse. And so I don't know. I got a good kick out of that, man. Like I don't love console wars, but every so often I just kind of like giggling at them.
I just remembered the last thing I was going to say quickly on Max Mustard, which is the most powerful marketing tool, and that does make me sound cynical when I say it, but like marketing isn't always bad. It's about being an ally to the VR community. And what I mean by that was the whole Astrobot thing. The reason it worked so well wasn't just because people wanted to play Astrobot and here's something else. The way they position themselves is, we're disappointed too. And it's like that sense of like, with the community, like, yeah, we really wanted to play Astrobot. Like, that's definitely inspired Max Mustard, and it's a part of the storytelling. And it meant that when it came out, there was a lot of people going, yeah, They get us. We feel understood. We feel robbed as well about Astrobot not coming along. And obviously, I can speak with Flat to VR, who I work with at Impact Reality. And what I said, and I've mentioned this before on the show, was when they did the trailers for the games being worked on, including Trombone Champ. The fact that at the end of those trailers, it had Steam VR, Meta Quest, and PSVR2 hand in hand. My feedback internally was, this is brilliant, because you're basically saying we are an ally to the VR community, like no one's left behind. And it was true. A lot of people felt like, great. The only time that people get into console wars is when there's a reason to be losing out in the first place. And so if you create that parity and you show yourself to be an ally to a VR community, you get rewarded for it. And so hopefully this encourages more people to be allies to the VR community, look at what does the VR community want, and then fight for it.
Yeah. DJ Dirty Yellow with the $5 tip says, do you think any team at Sony sat down and actually brainstorm how they can add value to PSVR 2? I mean, there's certainly the people in charge saying, who can we throw money at in order to get games over here that you can't get anywhere else. They threw money at Polyphony, or at least they ordered Polyphony to bring in the PSVR 2, Gran Turismo. They definitely threw money, as they've been doing since 2016. They threw money at Capcom in order to get those games over here, all the Resident Evil games, 7, 8, and 9. Like Synapse only existed because they asked Dreams to make them make an exclusive PSVR 2 game. It was, so there's, I think the question you're probably asking is, is there a team dedicated to this internally? And I don't think there is. It seems like Sony's been struggling quite a bit for years now. Like just trying to find their footing. And, Concord was a clear example that things are not right over there. They spend all of that money building up that team, letting them make that game, spending all that money, and then literally shutting it down within a week after it released. And it's just insanity. Imagine what they could have done with that $400 million, Miles, just in the VR space alone, right?
Oh, man.
So yeah. Is there a team that's working on that? No, I think they have bigger fish to fry at the moment. I think they have to get there. Without PS5, without the success of PS5, there is no PSVR 2. And I think that's how Sony's always looked at their VR market, being like, we got to make sure that this thing sells, and then this other thing will sell by proxy to people who are interested in VR. But like, whether we shouldn't be focusing on that right now, because we got way bigger issues to deal with internally. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yep.
I can only assume that's what's happening in there.
Yeah. Just goes back to what we're always saying is all the criticisms you hear about the VR space, if we don't know what first party games that, it's all stuff that could be measured at flat screen games as well. And actually, just when you look at all the proportion of games coming out between now and the end of the year on PSVR 2 compared to the user base of PSVR 2 compared to PS5, it's ridiculous. Like, we are being spoiled at the moment, regardless of if you talk about first parties or stuff, So I'm feeling good about it.
Just to clarify for anybody who doesn't know, Raptor Citizen in the chat is asking if Resident Evil 9 is coming to PSVR 2. And according to the last interview we heard from Capcom, the answer is yes. They basically were like, we're super excited about PSVR 2. We're not done with this thing. We definitely want to make Resident Evil 9 VR compatible. But the big takeaway from that was honestly that it won't be their day and date. It'll be a Resident Evil 4 situation where it's like they are working around the clock on getting Resident Evil 9 done, and then it'll have VR support later. So unless something has changed at Capcom in the last few months since that interview came out, that's the plan. So
yeah, why do it day in, day out when you could just hold off and wait till Sony comes knocking at the door and going, we got some money for you to put it on PSVR 2.
Right.
Yeah, I guess we could. And then they get the Vault out, and there's the PSVR 2 version they've already made.
Well, don't forget, Miles, that Resident Evil Village and 4 Remake are getting updated for the Pro. Gran Turismo is being updated for the Pro. And so the hope, of course, is that translates into PSVR 2 Pro support as well. So they're not, when they say we're not done with PSVR 2, they don't even just mean future games. They mean like, hey, the games that are out now, we're probably gonna make those look better. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited because a lot of people can't deal with reprojection, and I think getting those maybe up and running at 90 native or maybe PSSR helping out a reprojection issue would be a great thing.
Madison VR gets a PS5 Pro patch. That's gonna need a health warning on it.
Yeah. Macho, the real estate procrastinating game cat in the chat with the $2 tip says Tabor on PSVR2 equals peak hardcore virtual reality. Got hype. Hell yeah, Tabor's going to be great. I hope it doesn't release until next year because I'm too busy until then. I want to spend like 100 hours in that game, but I don't have 100 hours currently. Ben Schroeder with the $5 tip says, has there been a bigger jump in quality between two of a developer's VR games? He points to Richie's playing experience to Max Mustard. He goes, maybe Merville's to Shadow Legends. Yeah, I mean, you guys know Vitruvius is always the one I go to, so Merville's to Shadow Legend is big. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, though.
Oh,
I get nothing.
Chris Payne hero to.
Okay, you can.
Their next one.
We're putting you to bed. And then Macho with another $2 tip says, "Give us a Monster Hunter for VR." Jesus, yeah, for the love of God, if we're gonna throw money at Capcom, let's get some variety out of them. Not that I don't love Resident Evil Miles, but like Monster Hunter, that'll attract a whole nother group of people, right? And that's what we need. We need a little more variety in our AAA games. Where's BioShock? Just saying. All right, guys, our next news story is that Dark Curry, the developers of Undead Citadel, they're getting their Quest version out of that game, finally. And along with that news, they said that the PSVR2 port is just about done, and they are, I think the exact wording is, the port is almost complete and will be released as soon as we get the green light from Sony, which is an interesting combination of things to say, Miles. They say the port's almost done and will be released as soon as we get the green light from Sony. Usually the port is done, and then they're waiting to get through QA signs on my end. And so I think that's what they're saying, is that they're probably going back and forth with Sony, fixing things based on the failing QA, failing certification, and then having to go back in and then resubmit to Sony again. So I'm assuming that's what's happening. The port isn't done, quote unquote, because they have to keep fixing things that Sony finds in certification.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. Oh man, I do love the look of this game, and I'm just curious to know how it feels in the long run. Because it looks like it has some pretty hype moments, but how does it play throughout?
Yeah, I mean, I played the Horde mode during the Steam Fest, whatever the fuck it was, like 2 years ago. Maybe was it last year? I don't even know anymore. Like all this time just runs together. It's one big blur. But like I would say even the Horde mode, the combat felt great. Felt better than Swordsman, felt weightier than Swordsman, felt more impactful than Swordsman. Being able to like chop literally, they're showing this exactly right now in the trailer as I'm talking about it. Being able to just like swipe at the guy's leg and have the leg come off, arms come off, heads come off. This is a very accurate depiction of what I played in the Horde mode. So all the combat feels great. Now I was just having a conversation in voice chat today, Miles, about this game. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, it looks like kind of like Swordsman with zombies." And the response was a resounding no. That's not what it is. In fact, because you walk through levels, and you're picking up like potions and finding new weapons everywhere. Right? So it definitely has that more of like a game, like more of an adventure, rather than an arena fighter like Swordsman is.
Yeah, it's kind of the dream next step for Swordsman that I always wanted was a Golden Axe VR game, and this kind of has that feel. Yeah.
Well,
arcadey, badass.
Of course, the thing it's missing is multiplayer, right? Which is why Golden Axe is a fun arcade game.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, but it would be good.
I could be wrong. I do think that they're talking about adding multiplayer eventually, but obviously, just getting it up and running and out, available on all platforms, is the priority. But man, I don't know. I think AJ and I have talked about this game before, saying like if this came out in 2017, 2018, 2019, we would be like through the roof hyped about it. Like this would be exactly what we want. And I'm a little bit concerned that like maybe that's when this game was going to be really impactful and awesome for VR. Because again, I've only played the Horde mode, and the Horde mode was fun. I hope I get what I want out of the campaign.
Dirty little horde. Yeah.
What did you call me?
I said you played a dirty little horde mode.
Yeah, that's what it was.
There's a lot of gravel on the floor and stuff like that. It's pretty dirty.
Yeah.
And a lot of blood.
Yeah. I was talking the chat having their own conversation as always. It's talking about Hellsplit Arena. That's another one, man. Like, listen, Undead Citadel, Undead Citadel was supposed to come to PSVR 1. That's how long we've been talking about this game. It was supposed to come to PSVR 1 like years ago. And then that must have gotten shelved when they realized it wasn't going to get out in time to make any kind of impact or any kind of sales on PSVR 1. And then it was supposed to be a PSVR 2 launch title. I was searching Undead Citadel on Without Parole. Miles, I forget what I was looking for. It must have been, I don't know. I was trying to figure out how long ago we've been talking about this or how long we've been talking about it. And there was a breaking news report from like 2021, 2022, something, where I was like, Undead Citadel, PSVR 2 launch title. Fucking 2 years later, here we are. It's like, nope. Actually, as it turns out.
PS3, it's a PSVR 3 launch title.
Yeah. And Hellsplit Arena is another game like that, where it's like, oh yeah, like it was supposed to come to PSVR 1. There were the developers were constantly saying things like, oh yeah, no, we'd love to do it, or yeah, we're testing that out right now, or giving us little hints that saying yes, that we're going to do it. They didn't do it, and then it was another one where they started talking about PSVR 2 a long time ago, and now it's just like supposedly it's still coming. We have no idea. A lot of these developers have gone quiet, and I'm going to guarantee you that just randomly. It'll be like June of next year. And they're like, oh, Hellsplit's coming end of the month. Be like, what? Totally forgot about you guys. That's how the gaming industry works now.
They don't want this game to come out around Behemoth either.
Oh my God. Well, so what, they don't want Undead Citadel to come out around the time of Behemoth?
No, I meant Undead Citadel wouldn't want to release around the time of Behemoth.
No, that's what I thought you said. Like, so so what's the plan then? Do you think they need to like race and get it out before December?
No, I think I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean,
once Behemoth's out, I think I think the bar for this genre will get raised a little bit, and I'm curious to know if Undead Citadel can compete in that genre or compete alongside of Behemoth, which
despite seeing the Behemoth trailer and from the people that have played it hyping it up like they have, and I do think it's going to be an amazing game, seeing this trailer, which I've seen many times before,
I've seen it many
I'm
times
still hyped from looking at it. Yeah it's a really good trailer, and it makes me hyped. I love the mood of it. It does have a different feel to Behemoth. So yeah, I'm hyped for both in different ways.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I guess I could have played the campaign of Undead Citadel by now if I was really curious about certain things, but I'm wondering if there's reasons to explore. Obviously, like, there's potions and stuff that you want to make sure your health is always maxed out, but like Behemoth, it sounds like there's reasons to explore, right? Like you are crafting to a small degree, and so it sounds like there's always reasons to like go off the beaten path, and then you're tackling enemies like this, like very similar to Undead Citadel style enemies. But then there's that whole other level, that whole other Shadow of the Colossus level, which you can't overlook. That's the main point of the game, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, how do you compete with that when you're Undead Citadel? And the answer is hopefully your game's fucking fun from start to finish, because I think that's what you can do at this point. Let's see. Who else we got here in the chat? Miles, we got DJ Dirty Yellow with the $2 tip, says, Capcom, we want Street Fighter. Third person's fine. Yeah, I guess. Listen, I want you guys to get what you want. We had that. Did you ever play the Tekken practice mode on PSVR 1?
No, but I heard it was a great VR mode.
God, it was like one background.
Really good.
It was like it was.
And it wasn't even a level. You couldn't kill the opponent, could you? It was just continuous, right?
It was just a training ground, basically, with one boring background. And it was cool to see, I love Tekken. And so it's cool to see these characters in VR, right? But like, that's not enough. That's not what we're looking. I'm not going to put my fucking headset on for that silliness. I hope that's vodka. Let's see what else we got. We got
gin.
Is it gin?
And tonic, yeah.
Nice. Oh, I'm so jealous. I can actually taste. Anyway, hey Miles.
Hey Brian.
I want to talk to Samson.
You want to talk to Samson?
With the $5 tip, says, hey all. Happy Friday. Been a tough week for me. PSA to never forget about mental health, everyone. Much love to my PSVR fam. fuck yeah, Samson. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you get some well needed rest. I feel like we're all struggling, and so
Yeah.
yeah. If anyone can,
Been a rubbish week, but much love to you, dude. And always take care of yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So as much as we always like to look out for other people, always important you take care of yourself first.
You know what you can do to an empty cup, though? You can pee in it.
You can, oh yeah, you can do that as well.
Yep. But then you can't drink from it again. I mean, you could.
You could do. It's self-sufficient.
Yep. Just saying.
But not advised. Not advised. Not advised.
All right, man. Let's get to a couple of our news stories, our big news stories of the week here. Let's tackle this one, man. We just got a release date for Phasmophobia. As expected, I mean, the Kinetic Games promised us we'd be getting a release date around this time this week, and they delivered. And they had said previously that it'll be out in time for the Halloween event in October, and they were correct. They delivered. Miles, what do we know? What did they? Here's the new trailer, and they gave us the.
It's a great trailer. I love how they release the details in the trailer, like the light on the wall, and you see the text on there. It's a really good trailer. Yeah, man.
29th, October 29th. Yep.
I mean, look, I'm really looking forward to playing this game, genuinely. The multiplayer bit. The thing I'm not looking forward to is I hear that the tutorial is terrifying, and you do that by yourself. So I'm really not looking forward to the tutorial. I mean, Resident Evil 7 tutorial scared the hell out of me, going into the garage, which was like pitch black, and there was nothing actually in there. Spoilers, but yeah.
Okay. Listen, I'm very, very excited about this. I really hope that we can get our hands on it like before launch, right? So that we can cover it properly, so I can have a review ready for launch. But one way or another, when this game, as soon as all four of us get our hands on this game, I've already talked to you, I've already talked to AJ and Wes. We got to stop for at least an hour or two and just fucking get in there together. We need to be the Without Parole ghost hunting team, the Without Parole busters. That sounds like the competition is coming for us. That doesn't sound right. But I definitely want to get in there and make sure that all four of us are streaming simultaneously, and then I can do like a super edit where I chop together all of our streams. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to do. So I'm very much looking forward to this, and we're going to obviously cover it one way or another, however we have to do it. I've actually got quite a few things that I want to talk about here, but let's start with Friend at Court's viewer takeover question. Guys, if you don't know how to leave a viewer takeover question, it's like leaving a tip here, except you don't have to pay anything. You can just go over to our Discord, which the link's in the description, and join our Discord, go to the viewer takeover channel, and leave your question in there. We try to tackle as many questions as we can from viewer takeover over the course of the week. And Friend at Court wrote, #viewer takeover, could a multiplayer hit reverse the fortunes of PSVR2, and what are the chances that Frenzies / Aces of Thunder / Phasmophobia could be that viral success that breaks through? Miles, I don't think there's any question that Phasmophobia is like a breakout hit, right? It's a kind of a viral sensation. This is a game that was made by just a couple people, and is blown the fuck up. I love stories like this. And the fact that, like, I'm sure when they were making this game and putting it out on Steam, they never thought, oh, we're going to make a PS5 version or a PSVR2 version or put this on Xbox, right? Like, I'm sure that wasn't even on there. This is such a success story that, like, I'm excited for them. But do you think this rampant wild success that they've had, do you think this is gonna, like, I mean, Friend at Court phrased it as reverse the fortunes of PSVR2, right? But I would phrase it a little bit more positively and say
amplify the fortunes.
Push, like, do you think this is going to move the needle at all as far as like headset sales is concerned?
Potentially. I mean, I sort of put this in the same category of like when Five Nights at Freddy's was starting to have VR hits. Like, it's a beloved viral sensation. And look, obviously I work for the company, so I'm going to big it up. It's why I think Trombone Champ's going to do really good, because it was a niche viral sensation that loads of people post videos online. There's a lot to be said about games that, have done well online and are are fun to watch. Because the issue with VR is VR games that struggle are those that like, yeah, they're great VR games, but when you're showing it to people that aren't in VR, like, which is what you need to do to get your game out there, and people look at it and go, I guess it looks all right. Whereas these kind of games, it's going to be clear what the appeal is. You're going to be watching live streams of people absolutely, I say people, you're going to be watching me absolutely bricking it, and being like, this looks like a lot of fun. And the social component, social VR is what I love most, and sort of goofing around in virtual worlds with your friends is magic. So yeah, look, no guarantee this is going to like move the needle, but I definitely think we're moving. I think 2025, if it's anything like what we're seeing at the moment between now and the end of this year, I think it's going to be 2025 is going to be a really good year for VR, and stuff like this could really move the needle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this will listen. I think you kind of accidentally hit on an excellent point, and that's that the big
No chance.
the big VR games that we've been getting, and this is coming from somebody who absolutely loves horror. So I want you guys to like, stay with me here. I'm on your side. Don't forget. I love horror, and I love how much horror we're getting. But I mean, one of the big AAA games we got on PSVR1 was Resident Evil 7. Two of the big AAA games we've gotten on PSVR2 has been Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil 8 Village. We've gotten Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. We've gotten Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2. We're getting Phasmophobia, right? I mean, like, there is a lot of fucking horror. And so I don't know how many people are going to be moved to be like, oh, I definitely need to get a PSVR 2 headset now that Phasmophobia is playable on PSVR 2, right? When like all these other horror games didn't convince them to do it. I think if they probably bought one for Five Nights at Freddy's, now they're like, sweet, I get to do this too. And then Friend at Court points to like things like Frenzies and Aces of Thunder. Dude, I think Aces of Thunder, that is something that will move the needle, right? Because it's something different. It's something we've sort of been begging for, right? It's right there along in the race, almost in the racing category, as like this flight sim, these bigger, more realistic games that we've been kind of dying for. So I think Ace of Thunder will move the needle. I don't know. Phasmophobia will sell like crazy on PS5. That's certain, right? Because flat screen gamers, VR gamers, we're all going to love this game. Hopefully it'll be one of those games that just sits on the sales chart like Beat Saber, right? I hope that's the case. That would be awesome. But I think games like Aces of Thunder will move the needle way more just because it's something different.
But if you're on the flat screen playing with people in VR and you're seeing them move their hands, like in a VR game, there's that real feeling of, oh my God, I wish I was in the screen with them right now. There's that kind of feeling. And multiplayers have it as well. People say, hey, got to check this headset out. You got to get one so we can play together this Christmas. Like, multiplayer is the multiplier effect when it comes to selling hardware, because it's like, you got to come join me on this. Like, yeah, you can have a go. I can have a go at my house one at a time. But wouldn't it be cooler if we, like when I'm showing friends VR for the first time, I put them in walkabout mini golf in my MetaQuest headset, and I'm on PSVR2, and they're like, oh my God, got to get one. Like, being in this same space is just surreal. So yeah, multiplayer is definitely going to play a big part here.
And just before we move off this topic, I do want to make sure we cover every part of this. The other interesting part of this is that, and I don't know how much. Let me know in the chat how much this interests people, because I think a lot of people who are picking it up on PSVR 2 for the first time, they just want to play the game, right? But the fact that it's actually launching with the Halloween event, Crimson Eye, is a big deal, right? So we get in there and immediately we're doing something that the game didn't offer prior, right? So we're getting new content on day one. So even people who have played this before on other platforms, here we go. There's something new. So I just wanted to read through this real quick, just so people have an understanding of what this is all about. All right. So Phasmophobia's Halloween event Crimson Eye kicks off for all Steam players. It's October 28th, 2024, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it'll be on console the next day when it launches. We want to save some secrets for you to discover. Well, let's dive into some details. From the start of the event, blood moon weather will rain down constantly across multiple locations in Phasmophobia. During the blood moon, we're tasking ghost hunters to work together to achieve a set of 3 community goals, each with an increasingly larger ID card rewards, in order to unlock the final rewards, a trophy, and blood moon weather as a permanent unlock for all players post-event. So we're working together as a community, Miles, to affect the game permanently, which is a very cool concept, I think. This new weather type will have a chance to modify your future hunts while providing better rewards in modified ghost behavior when it takes place. So I don't know what I don't know what this blood moon weather is going to consist of. In my head, for whatever reason, it's just like blood rain. Like it's just going to rain.
That's why that's what I think.
Yeah. But like, how crazy it would be to be like, oh man, it's fucking the blood moon weather's here, and now we know the ghosts are going to act differently, or this is going to affect our mission. There's going to be like different shit than we're used to. I love that. It's kind of like and the fact that it's going to be. I don't like events that expire. I keep seeing this for Among Us VR. They're like, oh, this event's only happening from this week to this week, and I'm like, I don't care. Like I want, like if I'm going to learn something new, I'm too old, man. I'm too old. I need it to be something that I'm going to use a month from now, right? And so that's why I kind of like this, is because they're introducing something new, and then the community is going to work together to make it part of the game forever. And I'm like, all right, now I'm interested. I like it.
I'm just glad they're releasing something like scary for Halloween for this game.
Yeah,
because it'd been a shame just to release the base game without something scary for Halloween, right? I definitely want to make sure when I'm going in there, I've got something super scary to experience when playing Phasmophobia. More pissed off ghosts.
The official announcement, of course, finally, we're excited to announce Phasmophobia's early access console launch date. Now, it's interesting they're calling it early access even on console, Miles, right? Because this thing's, I don't know if it is out of early access, but I thought it was coming out of early access the same day that it was hitting consoles on PC. But they're saying, oh, no, this is console early access, which isn't really a thing, not officially, right?
No, but it's a good disclaimer of like they're going to be dealing with a lot of bugs, and they're going to learn a lot from it. So yeah, fair play.
The console edition of the game will match the PC version and will receive future updates at the same time, ensuring constant access to crossplay, meaning you'll be able to team up with other ghost hunters no matter where you play. At launch, console players will be able to take part in the Blood Moon event alongside PC players too. Very exciting news, Miles. It's funny. I know I've mentioned this before on the show, but it's worth repeating. There are people who are very angry about Phasmophobia and very angry about Ace of Thunder being like, where the fuck is it? How come we don't have it yet? It's never coming out. It's just not happening. It's taken too long. They're just not going to release it. Like that's a for me a very strange mentality for people to have. But this is proof, and Ace of Thunder will also be proof, because we're been getting constant updates on that. That like just because a game is delayed doesn't mean it's canceled forever. So I'm very excited that we all get to play this soon enough.
Amen.
All right, man. The other big news of the week is that Arizona Sunshine Remake came out.
It did indeed.
And this is the first GAMESCAST that I've had a chance to talk about it. Embargo lifted yesterday. Review came out yesterday. And I have not had a chance to talk about it on GAMESCAST. So you had a chance to jump in and check it out for a little bit before the show. People have already seen my review, I think. So what...
if not, check it out. It's a good review. Good review.
It's all right.
It was all right. Look, it's a really interesting release for me because Arizona Sunshine was one of the first domestic VR gaming experiences I ever had. Told this story before, but just to quickly summarize it, my brother had a HTC Vive. He brought it to my parents, I think, at Christmas, and there were 3 games I played. Job Simulator, and just being in that lobby and experiencing VR just blew my mind. Wow, I really feel like I'm here. I played Raw Data, and then I played Arizona Sunshine. And Arizona Sunshine, it was wild to me. It was incredible. And I think I got up to the mine level and sort of being in the dark, the fear of really feeling like you're in the dark, despite it being a game that is so much exposed in the sunlight, which is the interesting aesthetic of this game. I was blown away by it, and so when I became a PSVR player and I got to complete the game, despite how janky it was with the move controllers, I always had this funny clip of my friend who's like walking around like this. Yeah. I don't know why the arms were doing that. Despite all the jank.
Time out, Miles. I played with AJ, and the whole time it did look like he was holding the gun above his head. the weapon above his head in Arizona Remake as well. So
Really?
the
Well,
animations.
I'm glad they've kept some of. I'm glad they've kept some of the classic like tributes to the original.
Yeah, listen, it's a remake and it looks much better, and the character animations and models move much better. But there is still that like, what do you? I had to ask him. I was like, "Is that how you're standing right now?" He's like, "No, of course not." And I was like, "Okay, that's still funny to see."
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
But that wasn't an issue in Arizona Sunshine 2, right?
Man, there's so many questions I have about this versus Arizona Sunshine 2. I did go back into Arizona 2 after finishing this one just to compare and just be like, oh, you know what? But they are so similar graphically and almost gameplay wise that it almost feels like just extensions of the same game now. This is just like Arizona 1 and 2 sort of meshed together. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Well, the last bit I was going to say on like my introduction to Arizona Sunshine was the fact that it has a special place in my heart because it was one of the first VR games I ever played, and it was great playing it on PSVR despite its flaws. It's a co-op VR game where you're doing a main campaign, so I'd love that because I love like trying to complete objectives with friends in these worlds. And then Arizona Sunshine 2 came out, and I had a really good time with it. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, look, Arizona Sunshine 2 is technically a much better game. Like the animations, as you say, are incredible. Of the threads, the haptics, obviously with the sense controllers, when you're shooting the weapons, getting the headshots, using melee weapons, it all feels really impactful. And despite the fact that the comedy doesn't really rub with me well, and I find it, obviously it's obnoxious intentionally, but like obnoxious to a point of like, yeah, I've had enough of this. Arizona Sunshine 2 was clearly a superior game technically in every sense of the word because they've learned a lot from doing After the Fall, etc. But in my mind, I was like, I think Arizona Sunshine was a better game though. Like, you got to think of it in the context of when it came out.
Right.
But when they announced Arizona Sunshine Remake, I thought, excellent. This is the perfect way now to see what's the better game because there's now parity. And yeah, I've only played about 40 minutes. Again and again, I keep saying I've just not had chance to dive in.
For sure.
But
I'm
there was a real
feeling
of
the show today.
Yeah.
So that's all I needed.
But it was a real feeling of nostalgia of just playing this and going like it's like you just sort of feel these echoes of like it feels familiar. It's like seeing an old friend, but like in this new context of like we've all aged and like the world around us has changed. And like as you're playing this, I'm just glad that I get to have this like definitive version of the game now with all the DLCs and like that and people that are new to VR. I do think Arizona Sunshine is. And when I say that, it could be like one or two, is like one of the best, if not best, zombie VR game out there. I know there's technically when it comes to like Resident Evil and what is a zombie, right. I just mean in like typical zombie game. I don't know. What would you say is the best zombie game out there? Because I feel like maybe I'm missing a really obvious choice.
Oh, I mean, I finished off my Remake review by saying that this is probably the best zombie game out there.
Yeah.
Okay. And you see, listen. It's so difficult, right? It's because there is a nostalgia factor going on here. I saw somebody in the chat mention it. I heard you say it, and yeah. But I feel like I've been saying this for quite a while. Arizona 2 gave us a lot more of everything we liked from Arizona 1, but in the process, I feel like they didn't nail the pacing, the fun factor. Right, it felt a lot more dragged out. I felt like I was just going through the same neighborhoods, these sun-drenched neighborhoods, going through houses and just trying to get through. And
there was no sense of momentum.
No sense of momentum. There weren't these big moments like I kind of kept finding myself in those neighborhoods and in the sewers, and the neighborhoods and in the sewers, and the containment tents. And it was just like, man, some of these places are really fucking boring. I didn't feel that way ever. And I know the campaign is only half as long as the campaign of Arizona 2, but sometimes that's for the better, right? And especially when the DLC kind of nails it too. I never felt that in Arizona 1. I felt like it's like, okay, here you are. You're getting started. Oh, you're by the river. Then you're on the bridge. All these like feel kind of iconic to me. And then out in front of the little shop there, like before you get to the bridge, and then going into the mines. And it's like all of these are really memorable moments. All of these are like keeping the pacing going, keeping the environments fresh. making sure you're always kind of doing something a little bit different, even though all you're doing is kind of killing zombies. There's like, there are these moments that I remember from Arizona 1, and I remember nothing from Arizona 2. I think Arizona 2 got bogged down by a story that was pretty needless, right? There were good moments in the story, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing I hadn't seen before. And I just felt like it slowed down the pace of a game that like should just be about straight up action. And all the exploring I was doing in Arizona 2, in order to find all of these materials to craft with, I was maxed out on those very quickly, right? Because I was exploring constantly. I was crafting constantly. All my inventory slots and all my inventory slots on Bullet were filled very quickly. And it was like, okay, well, now I don't have any reason to craft for quite a while. And so it just, again, lots of cool additions to Arizona 2, but nothing that made it a better game. And so ultimately, I do think Arizona 1 is the better game. I like the campaign. I like the damn DLC. And the fact that you can upgrade for $10, cherry on top. This is really cool, man. It's really cool. I had so much fun playing through this, and I don't think I've ever said that about Arizona Sunshine 1 ever. Ever.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I know everyone in the chat was saying about The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, obviously like an exceptional zombie game. But when I was referring to it, and look, I know that when it comes to zombies and like what technically classes zombies, there are people that are into different classes. I'm talking about like the ones where there are runners, like things that are running fast paced. Like The Walking Dead, I find is a much slower paced game. Like you have your stamina and they're literally walking about. I mean, they do get at speed at places and stuff. So, like, yeah, if we're putting them in the same category, of course, the Walking Dead is an exceptional and one of not just the best like zombie game, but like VR game overall.
But hold on,
but for me, it's
before you move on from that, it's interesting that is that we didn't. Oh, I love seeing this bug here. This is great. The glass of the window, glass of the car door didn't move when I opened the door. Saints and Sinners. It doesn't feel like a zombie shooter to me, right? Because it's way slower paced. It's mission based. It's just more about being sneaky and like more about conserving your ammo. Arizona is a fucking arcade shooter, dude, where it's just like we're gonna throw 100 zombies at you, and have fun with that, right? And find creative ways to do it. Like there's explosive barrels everywhere. You've got grenades. And it's just seeing about like the pure chaos that you can cause and the blood soaking the entire level when you're done killing a wave of zombies. Like it's a lot more visceral, it's a lot more straightforward. And so I 100% agree Saints and Sinners is a far better game, but is Saints and Sinners a zombie shooter? I'd probably say no.
Yeah. And to be honest, there's going to be people that disagree with that, obviously, but that's why we're just giving our perspective on how we class things. Like, The Walking Dead, I've always said I love the game, but I've always been frustrated with the stamina. Like, the stamina has always just driven me absolutely crazy, and like it's a very slow paced game for that reason. I was trying to think what I was thinking about when I was playing it today. I just love with the new engine for Arizona Sunshine, like seeing the heat coming off the top of the cars. Like, it's a beautiful looking game, but there is a lot of aliasing, a lot of shimmering and reprojection. God, if this gets a PS5 Pro patch, I will be very, very happy because it's clearly a beautiful looking game. But yeah, the reprojection and the shimmering, I just find. It just makes me think, it's such a shame because it's such a good-looking game. Yeah. So that's definitely something I'd love to see them improve on. Yeah. I was terrible at putting all the hats on, by the way. Every time I kept trying to put a mask on, it would just fall on the floor. So unless it was swapping what I was already wearing, I don't know. I was getting confused.
What it was doing, yeah. Like if you're holding it there and then your controller buzzes, and then you let go. Yep.
Dude, how good are the haptics in this game? I mean, I know it's the same as Arizona Sunshine too, but the weapons feel so good.
Right. The adaptive triggers are on point. The haptics are great. But like for me, it was the simple things, right? When I go up to a locker door and I grab the locker door and I feel just like a little thunk, just the controller recognizing that I've grabbed onto that and that I'm going to open it now. Like just like that little reassurance that we're all on the same page. This is working as expected. It's like the number of games that don't do that is crazy, and that's what I like. Like I think I think Arizona Remake is a turning point for Vertigo for me. Like I would always kind of shit on Vertigo and just be like, yeah, we know what to expect from their stuff, right? It's like we just know what to expect. It's always going to be average. And I think Remake is proving, like, they did After the Fall, and they really implemented some amazing haptics and adaptive trigger support, and they brought that over to Arizona 2, and they brought all that over to here, and it's like I feel like they're getting, like, they're really coming into their own as a studio. And I know that Vertigo Amsterdam, is it Amsterdam? What is wrong with my brain today? Is a different studio than this, who's working on Metro, but
Right.
I'm obviously it's still a Vertigo studio, and I'm very curious to see how, like, they've got to be sharing assets, sharing, game engines and mechanics and everything, just to facilitate the development of their next game. And so I'm wondering how much of this will make it into Metro, and then of course Metro, like, just like being an even better game mechanically than all of this. So I'm very curious, man. I'm very curious. This is a studio I did not expect to be praising this week. Like, if you asked me last week, I was like, I don't know, they're fine. But this week, I'm like, God, they're really coming into their own.
Yeah, just on that, I mean, Vertigo games are, and I'm being very cautious the way I use it. I don't want people to take it literally and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you made this direct comparison. But they are Naughty Dog-esque in the way that they develop as a studio, because Naughty Dog, like, they do remakes or remasters of old games. But the reason they do it is Naughty Dog has always been about learning the technology they're working with for the new consoles and new tech. And it's not just like a cash grab. Obviously, money is a part of it. They need to fund their other endeavors. But a big part of it is like, let's learn the tech by upgrading something we've already built. And through that optimization process, we can then learn strategies and techniques for the development of our next projects. And that's exactly how I feel here with Arizona Sunshine. They didn't have to do the first one, but I'm really glad they have. And they will definitely have learned through this process. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what they work on next.
Karina in the chat said, I can't believe you just made this direct comparison. That's really funny. JUU in the chat says Fisherman's Tale was boring. That was made by Innerspace. And so,
I liked Fisherman's Tale.
Yeah, the first one I liked. The second one did not resonate with me. I didn't. I thought it was weird.
Yeah, second one I was like, it had some interesting mechanics, but overall, nah.
Yeah, made by Innerspace, published by Vertigo. But I do agree. Fisherman's Tale could have been much better. Man. So yeah. So again, not a perfect game, but a fun game, and that is, there's always going to be people who disagree with me. That is fine. I welcome your disagreements. I always like to have a conversation, especially like, if you hated Arizona Sunshine, fucking tell me in the comments. Tell me why you hated it. If you agree with me, tell me why you agree with me. But I love having these conversations. I'm one person trying to review every PSVR2 game that comes out. If you agree with every review that I've ever made, there's something wrong, right? Like, we should look into that. You might be me, because there's no other explanation, right? Because you should never agree with everybody.
Even you doubt your own reviews.
I do. I absolutely do. And so, people are like, oh, I can't, a game with this many bugs and this many, reprojection and this and that, whatever. How can it possibly get an 8? And I'm like, well, because it's fucking fun. Like, that is what my reviews are about. When I spend 7 to 9 minutes going into detail and documenting every single thing I think is worth telling you about the game, right? And then I give you the pros and the cons at the very end. That score in the middle is like how much fun I had despite all the negatives. That's just where my brain is with this. Like, that's the only way I can explain how to review a game, right? It's sort of like when GamePro had the graphics rating, and then the sound rating, and the control rating, and the replay value rating, and then the final one was the fun factor. I think the fun factor should be the score of the game. How much fun did you have with the game? So, dude, we're in a time period where I swear that people forget games are supposed to be fun. And what they do is they politicize it, and they get mad about every little fucking thing in every little game. If one thing doesn't work right, they lose their fucking mind. I was like, yeah, but dude, what have you ever tried having fun with a game? Because that's what they're here for. So
that's a good idea. I like that. That's quite a novel idea.
It's like people forgot. People forgot how to have fun with games. And so that if you're ever confused about my reviews, that is generally what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you all the information you need. And then at the end, that score is like a fun factor score, because I had a lot of fun with this. And dude, I even had fun with the Horde mode, playing with AJ and Wes. Like,
Is it better than the Horde mode in 2? Because that was the thing. I remember when we played Arizona Sunshine 2, I was like, God, this is worse than Arizona Sunshine 1.
I'll tell you why it's better. Is because it launched with all the maps. It launched with all the maps we ever got for Arizona 1. And Arizona 2 launched with one map. And it was the same map that Arizona 1 launched with fucking 5-6 years ago. Right?
Except you couldn't walk off the wood. Like you could
right.
Arizona Sunshine 1. You could actually walk everywhere, couldn't you? Could you do it in this?
So we actually picked the while AJ and I were fucking around waiting for Wes to show up, we picked there was kind of like a warehouse one, and so you could run up and down the stairs. There were zombies crawling in the windows through through some vents and stuff like that, and so you had to keep an eye out everywhere. But when Wes showed up, we did the trailer park one, which was the footage you saw in my review, and there's so many places to run, right? Like you can run, and I like that there's a strategic element to it. So you run around the trailer park, you just stay out in the open, and you're probably fine. But you're also probably going to run out of food, probably run out of ammo, and so like you've got to do this risk reward thing where you like go, all right, I desperately need more ammo. I'm going to run into this trailer over here where it's very, very easy to get cornered, right? You run in, you grab ammo, you try to get out as soon as possible because next thing you know, you're going to turn around, there's going to be like 4 zombies like crowding you, and you're like, fuck, I'm so done right now. So. It's because of all the maps that are there from the get-go that I think I enjoyed it more, and obviously when it comes to co-op, when it comes to 4-player horde modes, it's all about the company you keep, right? And I love you, and I love Wes, and I love AJ. If I was just playing with some randoms, I don't know how much fun I'd be having, but we were laughing hysterically, making fun of ourselves, making fun of each other, just having a good time, because we don't get to just hang out and play games together very often. That's the unfortunate truth to doing this for a living, is that you don't actually just get to play games and have fun very often. But that's what we were doing, and it was great. And so, and I think that was the moment where my score went from like 7.8, 7.9, boom, to 8. I was like, just good. We're having so much fun right now. I got to push this one up a little bit. So.
That's awesome, man. The last thing I'd say, just from seeing your footage on screen, is I do find it an interesting gameplay mechanic that the fat zombies, obviously they take longer to kill. Like, 1 headshot's not enough because obviously if you're fat you can take 5 headshots.
That's how it works. Yep.
That's how it works.
Yep. Definitely when the zombie apocalypse hits, man, it's time to order some pizzas. Gotta fatten yourself up. Yeah. Why does Dottie say I don't love you?
Oh.
I'm getting caught up on the chat. I was having too much fun talking to Miles, and I lost track of the chat.
I did play it on the second, not the hardest mode, the one under the survival, is it, or something? You mentioned on your review that you did it, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. Yeah,
survival is definitely the way to go if you're playing through for the first time. I would not go any lower than survival. This story in the normal mode, fuck those. Give yourself a little bit of a challenge, which I didn't think there was much of one on survival.
Because when they lunge at you, you really do go, I need to get out of the way of this. Because it's like 3 chomps and that's it.
Yeah. But then I when I finished the game, I restarted on Apocalypse or whatever the highest level is. And I'm like, this is where it's at. Like, I am definitely going to play through this again on that mode.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it helps, dude. It helps that the campaign is pretty short, right? The campaign's 3 hours long. And it's, again, a good variety from start to finish. And then the Damned, I think the Damned is great DLC, right? A lot of people are like, oh, it's only 3 hours. And I was like, yeah, but like, you're going to get 6 out of this because you're going to want to play the DLC. And the DLC is story DLC. And then if you even play a couple rounds of the Horde mode, then you're tacking on a couple more hours. So, yeah. So I do think it's worth what they're asking. And I think most people probably own this already. So they're only going to pay $10 to upgrade it. If anybody's got the physical version and is upgraded, please let me know in the chat. And if no one answers in the chat, please let me know in the comments, because people have been asking if you can upgrade from the physical PS4 version, and I don't have the physical PS4 version, so I don't have an answer. I can't test that out. So if anybody's got an answer, please. I do my best to listen to you guys and then spread the word. Yeah. All right, Miles, let's tackle a couple of tips, and then we're gonna play a 4-minute challenge.
4 minute.
Yep. Whoa, hold on. We got a lot of tips. Let's back the fuck up.
Whoa.
Julian Fricker with the 2 quid retracted his message, but we love you anyway. But then he followed it up with 2 more. Oh, error. Try again. I guess I'm not allowed to like a retracted tip. He's got 2 quids here. It says 2 quids. You guys don't plural the word quids. Quids, 2 quids. Multiple quids. 1 quid, 2 quid.
Quidditch.
That mouse PI game. I think it could be great in VR. What's the mouse PI? What am I? Hold on a second.
Not sure.
Mouse. I'm looking it up on Steam. Oh, here it is. Mouse PI for hire. Hold on a second. Listen, you're gonna tip 2 quid. We're gonna look into this shit. I swear this is only gonna take a second. Stick with me, you guys. There it is. Mouse PI for hire.
Cool.
This is. It looks kind of like Cuphead, but in first person. Oh, it's got the Cuphead style, right? Like the old cartoon look to it. All right, come on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay, first person shooter, like in kind of in Toontown world. This looks great. Yeah, this would be great in VR. This would be great on PSVR2. But the OLED panels would make this look all extra special. All right, here, let's get back over here. Thank you for that. I'm gonna contact those devs, and it's always interesting when I contact a dev and go, dude, your game would be amazing in VR, and then they go, you'll never guess what we've got in store for you, and I'm like, really? Like, it's always really exciting because it happens so infrequently. Sun WTF with a $20 tip says, Brian, revisit Arizona Sunshine 2 after beating Arizona 1 Remake for the first time. I went over to Arizona 2 again. Both are top 25 games for me. Listen, no offense, Sun. I want to see that top 25 list, right? Because people always say, how could this game not be in your top 25? How could this game not be in your top 25? And then go, which games didn't make your top 25 list in order for these games to make it, right? It's always like, then I'm going to look at your list, Son, and go, what the fuck? Where's Propagation? You know, like there's going to be a game that like, I'm like, no, you cannot have a top 25 list without that. Anyway, that being said, I totally respect your opinion. He said, Arizona 2 is better, just a better all-around game. Despite the same engine, Arizona 2 is still more polished. Interesting. Well, I jumped in to do a graphical comparison, but I feel like I didn't play it that long ago. I just felt like there were parts that were just kind of a slog, which we were talking about a little bit earlier. But I'll be more than happy to jump back in, check it out again. PSVR Underground. What's up, AJ? With a $2 tip. Oh, I didn't know you were a moderator around here. He says, PSA, hello, Arizona Sunshine Remake with Japanese voiceovers rocks. That's surprising. I mean,
I need to check that out. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to play through on Apocalypse then. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks, AJ. Looper, the Underground Game Cat with the €2 says, I'm reporting both of you to Tiffany. This is because of our forgetting about Saints and Sinners.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, Tiff.
We love you.
I enjoy your company. Professor Lilith with a $5 tip says, hello, Game Cats. Hey, Professor Lilith. This week's Sunday multiplayer at 2 p.m. Eastern will be, sorry on the screen, Steamio.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Classic.
Yep. Guys, if you don't know, I try to tell you this every single episode, and then people always go, I didn't know you had a Discord. Right? I say it multiple times a week. I talk about it on PSVR This Week, which is our most viewed show. Sirens on my end. We have a Discord. It is a very active Discord. If you are looking for friends to play PSVR2 games with, or you just enjoy talking about PSVR2 games, our Discord is where it's at. It's awesome. And so, click the link in the description below. Come join us over there. Come hang out. We appreciate your company. And then every Sunday, Professor Lilith here puts together a Sunday multiplayer meetup where you guys vote on a game to play, and then Sunday 2 p.m. Eastern, everyone jumps in and plays together, so that if there's a game sitting in your library that has not been getting enough love, that you jump in and the lobbies are empty, well, that's what this is all about. So come hang out and play Demio with us Sunday 2 p.m. Eastern. Join the Discord before that so that we can organize it properly. Deadringer the Game Cat with the level 1 membership says, happy Friday. Happy to be here live.
Happy to have you here.
Mm-hmm. And then Dratz Ebb gifted one without Parole membership. Thank you for your generosity, my good sir. Red Rover, the effing Game Cat, with a $10 tip. Red Rover. Send Joe Grover right over. Says Arizona was the first game I tried on PSVR, and the first time I tried VR. It was the reason I got a PSVR. It was he keeps capitalizing the. That's why I'm reading like this. It was the first game purchased and played through. I just purchased the remake.
The remake.
He didn't capitalize that one, but I had to.
I know.
Can't wait. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's so funny, Miles, because in my head, this is how Arizona Sunshine always looked. This is what always happens with remakes or remasters, and you're like, yeah, this is just how it looks. What do you mean?
Which is why I love in your review. You're like, no, trust me, this is how it looks, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, it is.
So different. It's so different. Like, listen, Arizona always kind of looked cheap, right? And Arizona 1 was a game that was developed and published with teleportation as its primary locomotion mechanic. It wasn't until after launch on PC, just before the PSVR release, that they added the option for full locomotion, because that was a thing that was becoming more commonplace in VR games. And there were just like invisible walls and different things that you would run. It just didn't work all that great. You could tell that this was a new thing in VR, and now it's commonplace. And so there is none of that. There's no invisible walls. You walk around, everything works the way it's supposed to work. So many things have been upgraded by getting into the Arizona 2 engine.
Anyway. You just reminded me of something, and I know that we're pressed for time, so I'll be quick with this. But in your review, you mentioned one of the negatives was regarding jumping down from things. I think it was.
Yeah.
Because I've only played obviously the first 40 minutes. But I like that when you're looking at ladders, you actually jump down from it. Because if I'm not mistaken, on Arizona Sunshine 2, it was the same as After the Fall, where it just teleports you down. You literally you weren't able to physically do it. And I hated that. It was like, I want to feel like I'm jumping down, which you now do.
So in Arizona 2, 1, and After the Fall, I believe it's across the board for all of these. There is an option to, when you teleport down from the top of the ladder, your character will jump.
So I've only been on so I've not got to later bits. I've only been on the bits where I'm at top of ladders and I grab the rails and I just throw myself forward, and that was cool. But maybe later on it's rubbish. Yeah.
No. So again, there's mandatory places where you teleport down.
Okay.
And so
I hate that.
Yeah. And so there is there is this canned sort of more sliding down animation, but I didn't learn about After the Fall until we were already into it for a while. And I guess that's in here too. I didn't see the option when I was reviewing Arizona 1. I'm glad it's here, but come on, just give me a jump button. Let me jump down. Let me have full control over that. It's nitpicking, but still, here it is. We've got this remake, and it's there are certainly things that could have been better about it. I don't like the load screens. That seems unnecessary, especially that they're load screens in the middle of nowhere. Right. It's not like you're going into the mine and then there's a load screen. There's one of those there too, but it's just you walk through a gate and you can see on the other side of the gate and it just fades to black and there's a load screen. I hate that. Disguise them better, please. Right. And also on PS5, they shouldn't be that long. Most of our games have non-existent load screens, and then So, listen, there are things to complain about. I complained about them in the review, but this was fun to be able to kind of gush about it for a little bit as well. Jordy Bansma, I don't know. With the €6 says, "Have you seen the Eurogamer video? Glad to finally see something from a games journalist that isn't nonstop bashing." I believe this is the one from Ian Hickton who said Sony doesn't care about PSVR2 and neither should you. It was kind of a clickbaity title, but the video itself was actually really good. And Ian, I think, has been, for the most part, very, very fair when it comes to PSVR2. He certainly had its moments. We've all had our moments where we get really upset and negative about things at times. He's a human being like we all are. And so I respect Ian, and I love the amount of coverage and the amount of love that he gives PSVR2.
Awesome.
And he's always demanding more from Sony, as I think we all should. And I think that it's very, I'm so optimistic and positive about things so frequently that sometimes it can seem like I'm not giving Sony the shit that they need to hear. right? And so that's why I respect Ian for kind of like being that voice a little bit more often.
Ian Higton and John Linneman from Eurogamer. Shout outs to both of them. They are John Linneman presents on Digital Foundry. They are both champions for PSVR2, and not in a kind of, well, obviously we just said that about Ian, but also in the case of John is they do have their criticisms, and it comes from a place of love and like, this is such a good thing. Why is it not getting more support? So yeah, much love to them both.
Elbert with the level 3 membership writes, LOL, lots of love. What's up, Elbert? Hope you're doing well. Bam says Brian's a Sony shill. Yep, that's what they do. They blacklist their shills. They say, hey, we're going to pay you, and then we're going to blacklist you. That's how it works.
Yeah, got to hide the evidence.
Yep, that's right. We
gotta pay him, they pay him, and then blacklist him.
We got to really sell this thing.
We'll pay you so you can then buy a PSVR 2 after launch.
I've now bought 2 PSVR2s. It's like,
yes, yeah.
Everyone else got one for free, but I'm the shill. That's how that works.
They got to get their sales figures up somehow. Ooh.
Ah, true that. All right, dude. We've been talking about this for a long time. Let's do a 4-minute challenge and get out of here.
Okie
Miles,
dokie.
the question is, are you ready?
I am ready. Are you ready?
All right, you guys, help out Miles in the chat. He's going to need all the help he can get. He only has 4 minutes, but an unlimited amount of time. 4-minute challenge, in case anybody isn't aware. It's the replacement for 20 questions. On your mark, get Dez. Fuck, I forget what the game is. Go.
Is it a PSVR 2 game?
Yes, shockingly.
Cool. Is it on PSVR?
No.
Is it on any other VR headset?
Oh, man, it's got to be. I'll check in on that while you're asking more questions.
Right. Have they gone for realism?
No. And yes, it is on other platforms.
Okay. Is it a horror game?
No.
Is it? Do you shoot in it?
Do you shoot? Technically, yes.
Okay, technically, yes.
That's a big technically.
But you're not shooting bullets.
No.
Sorry, let me not ask it as a negative. Do you shoot bullets?
No, I mean,
do you shoot? Yeah, okay.
Can we go with projectiles?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're kind of bullets, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a multiplayer game?
Like, can you play at the same time? No, it's not like you're playing together or against each other.
Okay, but I'm guessing from that, are there leaderboards?
I think there's leaderboards.
Okay.
I can't seem to place the leaderboards in my head. Like, I can't remember seeing them. So maybe there's not.
All right.
I apologize. I wish I knew.
Is it a good game?
Yes.
In your opinion, it is a good game. Okay.
Yep.
Is it sci-fi?
I mean, no, but you could make the argument for yes.
Okay. Is it a wave shooter?
No.
Okay. Is it a Connect Free style game?
No.
Okay, so it wasn't what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. It's not Rainbow Reactor Fusion.
No, that's what. Yeah. Is it a roguelite?
No.
And you said it's not realism. You said it.
No.
You said it's not.
No.
Not realism.
Don't worry, you have 90
is it
seconds
retro?
left.
Is it retro looking?
Yeah.
Is it retro looking?
Yeah.
Okay. And it came out in the last 3 months?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. It's not Compound because Brian would have known it was on other platforms because it was already on other platforms beforehand.
Yeah. It did not come out in the last 3 months. I just double checked.
Did it come out? Did it come out launch year? So in 2023?
No. Yes. Oh
no.
Wait, was 2023 the launch year? Oh my God, it was. Oh, my brain's fried. Yes, it did.
Okay. It wasn't a launch title.
No. You have 45 seconds left.
It's not. Do you have a You don't? Do you have a crossbow in it?
No.
No, it's a rogue. So I'm saying, he's not a roguelite though. He says, oh man,
You got this, Miles. You got this.
no, oh man, I'm so blank. This is a PSVR2 game, guys. Is it got a narrative?
No.
8
seconds.
Is it based on rock and roll?
Nope.
Do you shoot zombies?
Nope. Give me a guess. You're out of time.
I don't know. Is it Horizon Call of the Mountain?
No. Shout out to Null Zero and Twitcher in the chat who called this one. This is June 2023's Masternoid. That's a brick breaker game. Very retro inspired. You are shooting, retro, but not bullets, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. This is my head was in that space initially, and
yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
I totally thought you were going to get there. Yeah,
it's a great game. It's a really good game. Really good game.
Oh man, Ghostface Gamer, the Game Cat in the chat says, "Awesome Asteroids." That is a game that I should do. I should definitely do a Brian bite on, dude. Because you know what happened. I completely forgot that I had bought a HOTAS for when Aces of Thunder drops, and it's just sitting in an Amazon box in my closet. And I was like, "Oh shit! I actually have a reason to use this." I never reviewed Awesome Asteroids, so I think I'm gonna probably break that out at some point and actually use the HOTAS for Awesome Asteroids.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. I mean, dude, this is a hard game to play at the end of a Friday.
Dude.
Especially the weeks I've been having.
It's a hard game to play at the end of a Monday, at the end of a Wednesday, at the end of a Friday. Trust me, it's not, It's just like we do this at noon, I'm good. We do this at 7 p.m. or like midnight.
Yeah, in future, let's play it first thing when I wake up, and then we'll pre-record it. And it would be like it would be playing 1 minute games, just going really quickly. Oh man, Masternoid, I really want to get a platinum trophy on, but it's really hard to get the 3 stars on all the levels.
Yeah,
it's really difficult.
Yeah, I've gone in. That's another one. Masternoid, I have started a Brian bite multiple times and have not quite finished one. So expect some Brian bites once I get my brain together. Like once November rolls around or something. October is killing me. So
I actually asked the Masternoid dev on Twitter in a DM how to get the 3 stars, and they literally sent me like a book explaining it, which I loved. A few tips that I believe will be helpful. Don't lose a lot of multis during early game single ball gameplay. Try and collect the multipliers that spawned on that previous hit. Goes a bit like hit a certain area, send the ball back. There you'll get 2 balls sooner than later. When multiple balls are in play, you are more flexible to break and collect more. Man, this. I'm not going to read it all now.
Yo, but listen, Looper's in the chat here, real quick. I'm sorry, Looper in the chat.
Nikos.
Is that developer's name, Nikos?
No, Nikos. Yeah.
Looper says this is the second time it's been fixed. Second time the game's been picked. The first time was July 28th, 2023. Miles to Brian. So you asked me this game before. I guessed it in 20 questions. Also, there hasn't been any game guessed since introducing the 4-minute timer.
Oh, really?
That's incredible. I like that. I feel like it was a little too easy prior to this, which is why we did this. But so I think winning will be more of like a reward when we actually get it.
Exactly.
Good,
I like that way around. Is it like, are you going to be the one that loses?
Right.
You're going to be the one that breaks the win streak. That's way more depressing.
All right, you guys. Thank you, Miles. Thank you so much for being here. I know that you've had a busy week. I have too. It's so nice to reconnect with you. Sometimes this is our only chance to really get to hang out and shoot the shit, and we get.
Yeah, we were going to be playing Arizona Sunshine together beforehand, and I was gutted that we didn't get to, but we'll get a chance to jump in.
Yeah. So I feel so fortunate that like I get to reconnect with you and have it be during a time like this when we get to hang out with all the cats simultaneously. It's so much fun. Thank you for being here, Miles, and make sure everybody go subscribe to Miles' channel. Or the link for that is in the description below. He's desperately trying to play every PSVR2 game ever made. It's never gonna happen, but it's certainly fun to watch him try. Also, make sure you subscribe to all of our channels because we're going to be doing some kind of epic Phasmophobia thing very soon, and it'll be fun, I think, to bounce between the different channels to get different perspectives as we play. So go subscribe to Wes and AJ and Miles, and make sure you're subscribed here. Half of our viewers are not subscribed. Make that shit happen, you guys. Thanks to Rypop. Thanks to Waleed is now helping out with timestamps. Thanks to Rody, the GameCat Army General, timestamps. Everybody supports the channel financially, whether it's over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames, everyone who's a member over here, everyone who tips during the show, everyone who hangs out and shoots the shit with us, and everyone who sits back and watches the show and doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're here, and we love you just as much. Miles.
Brian.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Brian. Bye, Game Cats. Have a good one.
Here it is, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Clip of the week, courtesy of... the trail lights went out. Courtesy of Radby. Let's go.
Yeah. I was playing Breachers there, and the guys just running around instead of communicating and shit, and we kept, oh!
What the oh, shit.
You walked right in front of me, I'm sorry. You want to restart? Can we restart somehow?
Man, I don't know. I don't think Radby sold that kill very well. He's just like, the dude walked in front of him, and then like 10 seconds later, he shot him. He goes, "Oh, you just walked in front of me." I was like, I think he had it out.
That's what I'd say. That's what I'd say. It wouldn't hold up in court, though.
Yeah. I don't think. Listen, we got video evidence of that murder, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was a straight up murder. Kill Artist won the Dreamweaver Game Cat in the chat with a $2 tip. Says, driving home from my Bahama trip, ready to play VR. Have a safe drive, Kill Artist. Welcome home. Hopefully you got some good games lined up. It's been a lot of good stuff happening in the world of PSVR2, and it's only gonna get better. Miles, I haven't seen you write a new review on Letterboxd.
The last one was about 4 nights ago, I think. It was Saw X, and yes. I was so depressed. But no, I'm gonna hopefully. I mean, I'm working after this, so I'll watch a movie tomorrow.
I'm gonna watch. I'm finally gonna watch. Oh my god, dude! Like Alien Romulus came out on Amazon Prime on Monday. I have been patiently waiting for it to come out, and then all week long, by the time I'm done work by the end of the night, I just like lay down and fucking pass right the fuck out, and I can't pay attention to anything. So hopefully gonna watch it tonight or tomorrow, possibly depending on how the night goes. I still gotta do PSVR this week tonight. But I watched Nefarious. And I really need to review that on Letterboxd. By the way, guys, me and Miles are both on Letterboxd. If you don't have the app, download it, or just go to the website and then follow us over there. We're watching movies and reviewing movies just for fun, just for fun. It's really made me enjoy watching movies more, Miles, because it's like I put my phone down and it keeps me from being distracted because I know that I'm going to have to like write up a little blurb when I'm done watching it.
Yeah.
And I am going to review the movie Nefarious very soon.
Nice.
It's so the Christianity, right? Like that it comes from it's just like exuding out of the writers in that movie is so heavy-handed. Yep. That's like, man, I wanted to like the movie so much, but I felt like I was being lectured or that somebody was trying to convert me to Christianity or something the whole time. I was like, oh man, this movie would have been so good otherwise. But still worth watching, even with the heavy-handed religious message.
Well, a movie that I really didn't have any interest in watching, just because I felt like this is what happens in sequels, more budget. It's just going to be a more empty version of the first one. Mm-hmm. I did enjoy the first one, which was Smile. Smile 2's coming out this week, and the reviews have been really positive overall. So,
wait, weren't the reviews positive about the first one too?
Possibly.
I think they were.
Possibly. But I mean, I enjoyed the first one. I know you were a bit more mixed on it.
I need to watch it again. I don't know. I need to give it another shot.
Yeah.
I feel like I was pretty harsh on it.
It wasn't like there was issues I definitely had with it, but yeah. So I'm probably going to go see Smile 2.
Cool. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts because I trust you.
There we go.
Yep. All right. All right, guys. Listen, thank you so much for being here, guys. We love you all. Have a wonderful night and enjoy your weekend.